Yeah, so before kind of speaking about the music a little bit, I wondered, do you remember your first impressions of each other when you first?
Yeah, that's me and Callum met at a Libertines gig in Coventry.
Yeah, I remember just getting introduced to George via a mutual friend and being like, hello mate, how are you?
He's attractive.
I seen this lanky prick being like, fucking hell, you're tall. I was like, I swear.
X-rated name.
Yeah. And been like, okay, this guy, I immediately knew he was a bit of an idiot, to be fair. Bit of a dunce, but lovable dunce nonetheless.
Well, I looked at Callum. His hair was too long for that lid needs to go. And still ugly and incompetent.
Swear well, man.
But yeah. Pete Doherty serenaded us that night.
He did. Thank you, Pete.
Like all kind of most bands, you went through a few members before you kind of settled in the lineup you're in.
Yeah.
At what point did you realise that this lineup was the one that kind of fitted and had something special about it?
I mean, to be fair, don't tell him, but still got a couple of adjustments.
Harry, sorry mate, if you're watching this in the future. Nah. No, it was when Ben joined, definitely.
Got locked the rhythm section down, I think.
Yeah.
That's the bedrock of any good band, I think. But
You're only as good as your drummer, you know?
Exactly.
As they say. And Ben's really good. So, I know we all just get along really well, and we almost had a fight last night, not with us, but with another person.
I like it, he's throwing that in there, trying to look hard.
Oh, we're not hard at all, but
it's one of those things. It's like when we're kind of jamming and stuff. It just Ben's got ideas, and we can all kind of comfortably vibe off each other. So, that's when you know. When you know, you know.
You can see it on stage as well with the way that you all kind of move about and properly get into it and everything.
Yeah, I feel very relaxed around these four when we're playing and stuff. So, I think maybe that's it.
When you're on stage and you're moving about quite a lot, is that something that just comes naturally, or is it something you can have to turn on and off, and you have to kind of psych yourself up to get in the zone for going on stage?
I see what you mean.
It's not forced. We just do it because.
Because we're artists, man.
No, because our music's like kind of. It's not that serious, so we think like may as well have a good time with it. And if we're like that, then the audience tends to be like that as well. Whereas if we're just going to sit in there, like, it's probably not going to be as good in the audience, you know.
Yeah, it's like a performance thing, but it's like entertainment as well, and it's just as entertaining for us. It's easy to kind of get into it, and then you can kind of like, I don't know, kind of play around with it. It makes it more fun.
George's been practicing some James Brown moves.
Yeah, I've been whipping out James Brown. I might try and do it tonight. We shall see.
He's got the book, Anyone Could Do the Splits.
It's written by some like 70-year-old Japanese lady who's like smashing it out on the front. Theatrics. I think that's what we're kind of looking to do.
Can't afford pyrotechnics right now, so
Yeah,
we have
exactly.
to kind of compensate via rubbish dancing moves.
But the show's a show. I enjoy dancing, so might as well do it. If there's music playing, my booties are shaking. So.
Yeah.
And in terms of the music and stuff, even before that, were you always creative, kind of growing up? Was that always something that you felt a desire to do, or is that something that kind of came a bit later on?
I don't think. I know that's like a classic thing where you watch the music documentary and there's footage of someone like 4 years old, like playing an acoustic guitar, just like, and then my dad taught me how to play guitar. Like
I knew I had to be a musician.
Yeah, I only started playing when I was 14. That's the only when I only really like started taking interest into music.
Harry only started playing like a year before the band started, I think.
But yeah, he was a drummer originally. We've got 4 drummers in the band. Well, 5 really.
Who isn't a drummer?
I would say me, but
Nah, you
I play more drums than him. But yeah, we're all very much into it. It's like the thing. I don't know if it's. I don't come from a musical family. Callum's probably the most musical family.
A lot of the album is kind of quite tied to England and tied to Britain. It's a very British album. So there's a few location-based questions what to ask about. The first one was the barn, and what occurred there and what went down when you went up to a barn to write.
So the first track actually the Good Richard's Crash Landing. The title track comes from our like an experience on the farm. So does like Add Blue. The context behind that is to do with the farm as well. To be fair, we probably should have done a lot more work than we did on that farm, but the weather was amazing, and that kind of set the tone for the majority of the recordings.
We got some deck chairs, and the rest we just couldn't help.
Yeah, read a lot of books. We had quite a big food budget, so we got to a point of having a loaf of garlic bread each every night. It was a joke.
Living like kings.
Piling on the calories. But in terms of like the musical stuff, like Good Richard's Crash Landing, there's a lot of space. It's very open. So we just kind of going back and forth, showing each other ideas and things. But it was relaxed. I think that's probably a word that would summarise the band quite well. Relaxed.
Was Chalet 47, that was another track, is that related to the retirement village you went to the Chalet?
Yeah, we lived in Chalet 47, which is Callum's work county.
Yeah, my granddad bought this gaff in Fareham in the 70s. It's on a holiday park called Silent Breeze. It's pretty rubbish, pretty bleak, but it's very English, and kind of people go there to live out the rest of their days. And we happened to, there's a vacancy there because my granddad, he was actually in the living room the whole time via ash form. So he was just there in the living room, and my parents couldn't sell it, so we just kind of lived down there until winter, and we wrote a couple of songs there. It's basically the same process as the barn, but in different location. And that's where we got, around the time we got Ben, drummer, kind of, it was a transitional period, and that's where the kind of line-up that we have now formed.
So were some of the songs written before Ben came into the band?
Yeah.
Do you notice a difference in those tracks at all? Like the effect that he had when he came in?
Well, the basis was written, but like he changed all of the songs. Like we had kind of a loose idea of each, some riffs and some chords, but like as soon as he came in, he gave it a different feel.
But he's like the rhythm stuff. So I think once we had that solid kind of base to go from, again, it's just an interpretation of the songs and stuff, and it's quite dancey, now. But Ben's quite an accomplished in terms of like styles and stuff, so we could play around with it a lot more. So it kind of opened us up to more things, and that's where we wrote the What's Inside Is More Than Just Ham, Dog Walking, Wiggy Pop, and what else was?
Like the chorus of Add Blue and chorus of Axel.
Yeah. With Ben. But then obviously, like in the recording process and stuff, like Ben's playing drums on all the tracks, and it's a vibe,
Where's the strangest place to come up with a song?
Strangest place to what, sir?
You've come up with a song, you've written a song.
Oh, strangest place. I'm trying to think. I mean,
on the Dunny.
Yeah, on the Dunny. Well, I think Chalet. Well, to be fair, the Good Richard's Crash Landing was pretty weird. Like, Callum's got a recording on his phone of the guy So the title is Good Richard's Crash Landing because a guy called Richard crashed a glider into the field that we were writing the song in when we were staying at the farm. And the song itself's got nothing to do with that, but that's the title of the track. So you could say that's quite weird because within the time that we're writing it, I had like a glider crashed into the field. We were in the field on our like deck chairs, just.
We were on the deck chairs, jamming an very early version of it.
Jamming.
And then we literally saw this like geezer just walk up to us. We're like, okay, who is this guy? And then it turns out he was Richard, who crash landed. So that's why we named the song, because he gave us some bunts for the pub for helping him out.
And he was a nice guy.
Good. And he was really nice, yeah.
Don't get us started about bad Richard.
Yeah. Oh God.
But good Richard, nice guy.
And when I started speaking about location, I restarted speaking about location, a minute ago, I was speaking about how it was like kind of related to Britain and British mundanity a bit. Mm-hmm. Is that something you've kind of always been drawn to, or is that something that's kind of come with time, and what kind of attracted you to that topic? Because it's kind of present in all the tracks. It's like laced out the whole album.
Yeah, I mean, in terms of like influences and stuff, I started listening to a lot more like English music, like the Kinks and things, and that was definitely like an influence there. I think like
Talking about how shit England can be, to be honest, it's just funny.
But in terms of like my kind of like lyrical songwriting, it's more like observation. So we just so happen to be in England, but if we have enough money to go to Paris or France, you know, next time Amazon rainforest, we'll have an Amazon album, you know, writing about snakes and what have you. But it's all pretty much, what can you see? Write a song about that.
And when you started off making the album, how do you approach an album like this? Do you have a blueprint? Because it feels like every song is different and it's its own thing, but at the same time the whole thing is connected and kind of hangs together as a whole. How much planning kind of goes into it, and how do you approach it?
I think it wasn't a finely, delicately crafted thing. I think we just got some songs.
There was no grand concept. There was no like massive board where we were like, how are we gonna, you know, in the middle of the night trying to like create all these crazy crossings and things and put all these like really niche references from each song into another.
That's bollocks. We literally just did some songs.
It's just
some
a
didn't make the
combination
cut, some didn't.
in a time period that I think makes it connect together. But there's no grand plan, not that we know of anyway. But as I said earlier, that we're very relaxed. I think maybe the better phrase to do is, I don't know, I can't think of anything else. Go with the flow. Things unravel. We're just along for the ride.
Although you're saying it's not a grand plan, I think maybe more emotion kind of feeds into the album in that way. Because there's less meaning, or not less meaning to it, but because there's less of a plan, it feels, you know, more emotionally powerful.
Yeah, I think maybe there was a position. I didn't want to go like talking about current affairs and politics and things. I find it more interesting about making something out of nothing, you know, menial stuff, you know, kind of blow it into a different proportion and see, because there's a lot of nuance in very mundane things. I think it makes it a bit more easier to, not digest, but kind of get behind. You know, people walk dogs.
And other people do a better job at slagging off the Tories than we would. Yeah. We would just be rubbish at it.
I mean, we're all like pretty middle class anyway.
Yeah.
Yeah, we'd just be calling, you know, just hypocrisy, really.
Well, yeah.
I don't know, but, you know.
We're not Tories, that's clarification.
We're not Tories. We're right. We ain't Tories.
We're not.
And, I mean, there's a lot of interesting tracks there, I mean, the title track, especially. Where is the strangest place you've taken inspiration for a song? Strangest thing you've taken inspiration for?
Okay. So like, AdBlue is a bit of a weird one because, like, the story behind that is Ollie when we were on the farm, he filled up a kettle full of AdBlue's diesel additive, and made some teas with it. Fucked the kettle up, drank some of the tea. Disgusting. Don't drink petrol. You know.
No brainer, really.
Yeah, it's not hard. And then AdBlue, fill the water, kind of floating around in the same kind of atmosphere. But some of it, like some of the lyrics, don't mean anything. But you kind of have to. It's like a breadcrumb trail. You have to kind of work back to the reference or the context. But yeah, there's no kind of grand meaning behind it all. We're not the Illuminati.
We're not clever.
You know. Yeah,
we went to Coventry University.
I hope it sounds clever to other stupid people like ourselves.
Yeah.
You know.
If you're not looking for meaning as much, what are you kind of looking for in a lyric? What do you kind of makes a good lyric or a good song? Kind of?
I think it's like for me, I kind of like visual stuff and like character. Like I always find if I like watch a band or I listen to music, a lot of the time the lyrics, I'm terrible at remembering lyrics. Rubbish. Like if I listen to a song that I really like, I'll sing like a couple, like one line, and then just murmur the melody. A melody kind of attaches itself more to me than lyrics. But in that sense, I think it's more about that kind of dry humour bits that I can kind of like makes me laugh. It's not necessarily like trying to push anything front onto anyone. Let people make their own minds up. I don't need to stand on my soapbox and tell you how to think, because people do that shit on Facebook and Instagram and social media. That's what that's for. It's like an escape. That's why I see it. So
we actually watched.
Welcome.
History of the Eagles. I think Glenn or Dom from the Eagles are talking about how like they think they got successful because when they were big, like not comparing ourselves to the Eagles, by the way, but they were like, it was during the Vietnam War, they did like Take It Easy, and everyone went crazy. It was like, it's a feel good song even though everything's shit. So I think we thrive in the stupidity in the songs, I think, and like the escapism with George's lyrics and stuff.
But they're like musically as well. It's all pretty much like the reins are very much slack. We stupid noises and things and little nuances and tracks like we love analog records and Beach Boys and all those kind of like listening to Paul breathe in a like a really old Beatles track. You can like, you can hear John shutting a door. It's like love that stuff. But all of it kind of comes together, sticks together, and I don't know where I'm going with that, but
I can hear it coming through like in various elements of your music. At the start of the record and stuff, you kind of, it's the little bits like that I kind of like.
Nuance.
Yeah, it's the little. If it's too squeaky clean, or it's like this is the message, this is what it wants to be, then you don't open yourself up to other people's interpretations. I want all people from all walks of life to be able to listen to our music. It's not directed at anyone. It's in itself, it's just kind of like ramblings about things that don't mean anything to pretty much anyone, but maybe in that it does, I don't know.
I've got one left to round off. I wonder, it's a bit more a general one. What's your most rock and roll story that you've amassed from the last few years?
Most rock and roll story? Let me think. We found the first couple of days.
I once forgot to return a Travelodge card. It's in my wallet right now. I feel really bad about it. Tried to ring them up, but they didn't answer.
Well, no, you didn't. You didn't try and rock
and roll. More rock and roll.
Doesn't care. We found Ben. This was like a couple of days. Before we'd really toured with Ben, we went to Amsterdam or the Netherlands. Sorry, we're on the boat there, and I don't know. He convinced himself. He was like, right. He had this bottle of Captain Morgan's. He said, I'm drinking this bottle of Captain Morgan's, and I remember finding him later. I think we were walking around, found him.
It was about 2 hours he was missing.
Yeah.
He's on the boat somewhere, but he can't go anywhere.
That's it. And then we went into the toilet, found him just standing in the middle of this empty bathroom, just looking at himself in the mirror. The bottle of Captain Morgan's just like, right, where am I? And we managed to drag him back to the room and tried to take his shoes off. He wasn't happy about it. He was like, don't touch my fucking shoes. But that's not exactly rock and roll. That's just we played games. We played in the arcade. That was fun.
Yeah, we played Mario Kart. That's pretty rock and roll, isn't it?
Yeah, it's pretty rock and roll. Let me think. We've been to Luxembourg. We played this festival in Luxembourg that was more of like a hippie commune kind of thing. That was cool. Harry got bitten by a dog. That's pretty rock and roll. At that festival. It's like
I got rabies and stuff.
Yeah. Rack. We didn't get asked to leave, but there was definitely a vibe. There was like a whatever the English is coming in Luxembourgish. That's what they would say, when we came down in the morning, because it was quite a small festival, and they're all hippies, so they're all just like wearing their really baggy trousers and hemp everywhere, and they're all stoned or whatever, just so. And we drank a lot. British binge drinking culture. To the people of Luxembourg, apologies, and we'll see you in December.
Yeah, apologies, but come to our show.
Yeah.